Ladies and gentlemen, how's it going? Once again, I'm Nev from Nev's Tech Bits. Today I want to talk about something that is actually of great social and political import. Whether you see it, whether you want to admit it or not, we are in the middle of a new war, the data wars. So everybody is so left or so right, so progressive, so conservative, liberal, conservative, Hillary, Trump. You got that? Okay, they're all different words for the same things, right? So when we go out and we get our news, when we go out and we get our information, we have a difficult time getting it from a reasonable source. CNN, I don't have to tell you why that's not right. Fox, I don't have to tell you why you don't listen to Fox. NBC, come on. When Trump won, NBC went underground into a bunker and said, we will not come out of this bunker until President Trump is gone. Not only is that unbelievably partisan, but man, it was like watching a movie. And that's part of the issues that I see with news. It's all extreme left or extreme right. There's nobody in the middle just trying to get information. There's nobody in the middle just being like, okay, we are removed from this and this is exactly what we are seeing. No, we get a lot of issues where President Trump, well, for example, say, I'm not a Trump supporter, by the way. I'm Canadian. I have no stake in this, but what I see is human suffering in the making coming here. So anyways, Trump said, if you see those Mexican criminals put their heads in and you're putting them in the car, I would not worry if you bump their head on the way in, or basically something along those lines. CNN was like he broke a law. He literally broke a law that you can't do this to people. You have to say, watch your head. And because of this, it's like the worst sin of all time. Like, come on, guys, let's save this stuff for when we really need it. It's like everybody on the left, as soon as they see someone they perceive as a Nazi, they say that that's Hitler. But we have to save that. If we see Hitler, we have to really frickin' say that, because one day Hitler might be back, and if everyone's saying it all the time, no one's actually going to be able to pin anything on him. And that could happen, but probably not. Probably not now that we know what he looks like and we avoid it. But nobody knows what happens when we go too far left, and that has happened recently. Too far left, too far Hillary, too far. Okay, we got on the right, we got Nazis. Okay, that's as far right as you can go. That's too much frickin' order. That's so much order that there isn't even healthful bacteria in the world, and you're gonna die anyways. Okay, and then you get too far left. Okay, what's the opposite of Nazis? Everyone needs to know this going forward. The opposite of Nazis is Antifa. And it used to not be that way, and I couldn't make that argument until now, but recently there's been 3 back-to-back mass shootings, and they both came from the internet, which frickin' breaks my heart. We could have seen this. We could have done something about this. One of them came from 8chan, and the other one came from some place on the left, and I think it was probably Reddit or something like that. But it used to be people were just crazy. These people that shot people were just crazy. And then it was people on the right who were crazy. But it was clear they were crazy and they had an agenda that was political, or that they were agitated by political things. And then we get people on the left now, liberals, Hillary supporters, that have gone out, mass shooting, mass deaths, all that stuff, human suffering, men, women, children, and we missed that. We could have been on this. Internet people, there's blood on our hands now. This is the first killing that came from an extreme left internet group, and I see more of it coming up on the future. It really bothers me. It bothers me so much I had to disconnect for a little while. And the reason why I see this happening, once again, is because news is so far left or right. I want to get a little more into this. People say with news, it's people who are controlling you. People want to push an ideal. But what's really interesting is the person, Rupert Murdoch, owns a lot of news organizations. He owns Fox, and he's not even American. He just sits back and lets them do their thing. So what these news organizations exist for, the same reason that I exist. Okay, so I know this. I'm in the biz. I literally get money for sending information out, but I'm not going to monetize this video. There'll be no ads on this video, and that's because I think this is important. And social justice warriors and political people shouldn't be getting money on YouTube because it makes what they say disingenuous. Anyways, so we have to go out and get information. We have to go out and get information about stuff and collect information. But a lot of the information that we have isn't information. It's in fact porn. And not only that, but we're too retarded to figure out what the good stuff. No. I'm sorry. I take that back. I know some really good people who are mentally handicapped, and I refuse to compare them to these idiots. And if you are too stupid to know that there's a difference between an article and opinion and a report, then this is the reason that we're in this situation. If you're the type of person that backs off and says, oh, I'm not going to have anything to do with this. No, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut and stay back. It's also a little bit on you, because it's up to us as reasonable people to have reasonable conversations. If we can't have a reasonable conversation where we try our ideas against each other, then the ideas that we have are wrong. Now, there are some people who are really good at debating and who are really good at bullshitting things, but we are also intelligent people on the other side, whatever the other side is, and we can bring intelligent people to the conversation. To have a conversation that doesn't involve name calling, that doesn't involve stupid jokes, like what Reddit has become. We got so much cool things going on Reddit. When you go to the comment section to wonder what the heck's going on, maybe a little bit of context, all it is frickin' jokes all the way down. We need to stop being funny. We need to stop blowing people away with jokes and start using facts. If Johnny comes down to the group, and if you live in a small town, or even if you're in a shop, you know this, you just get a bunch of people together who all like each other, who all have political views. And if Johnny starts saying that he doesn't like Jews, you gotta hold up. Johnny, why don't you like Jews? Seriously, what's up? Have you ever met a Jew? Do you understand? And this gets people really upset. Jews are overly represented within the high IQ area. Jews have high IQ, period. I don't know why, but they do. And I want someone with a high IQ running my stuff, regardless of what it is. So I'm okay with that, right? So if I'm missing something, put it in the comments, right? This is how we do things. We have a conversation about this stuff, but we're not having a conversation about this stuff. We're not looking at where our news comes from, and we're willing to go out and take action and hurt people, create human suffering, and even kill off wrong information that we're too lame, that we're too stupid to double check. So, for example, I am totally okay with anyone who thinks that they're a male who thinks they're transgender. Man, if my wife got hit by blue kryptonite and she grew whatever, let's just say meat's back on the menu, right? Okay, so I have no problem with sex, any frickin' religion, any of that stuff, as long as at the end of the day, your religion, your whatever is not about human suffering, then I'm okay with it. You get me? But if you're okay with human suffering, your religion is not okay with me. All right? Now, that could be taken in a whole bunch of ways that we could talk about specifically. When I talk about human suffering, I'm not talking that your bus is 5 minutes late. I'm talking suffering as the definition might have been 50 years ago. And again, definitions of things change, and there are a lot of people that think that they're suffering when really they have a better life than their grandparents, than their parents that are given so many things, but then all of a sudden they want everything for free because they've never been cold or hungry. And when I say cold and hungry, I mean, have you ever been cold for 24 hours where you could not be comfortable, where the cold was at you and there was nothing you could do? Ladies out there, you don't count, because no one cares unless you're pretty or dying. And there's a lot of ugly people out there who are cold and who are hungry and who have mental issues, but it's okay because we don't have to deal with them because it's not our problem, right? So we got people out there with mental issues that have access to high power weapons, consuming news, consuming data that isn't right. And so, once again, I keep talking about this. If you ever talk to someone who comes from China and show them our political system, show them our news, they don't see news. They see porn. They see pornography. They see not information. They just see, hey, wow, that's spectacular. That's horrible. And one thing the news is literally there to get you to do is get you to try to take action. Literally. You're supposed to get in there for entertainment, get your advertisements in. I'm not sure if they even care about the information that they feed you, as long as they spoon feed you something, because they're actually 24 hours news channel and they're there to get you going and get you back, right? That's what that news is about. Everybody asks me, Kevin, when was the last time you went canoeing? When was the last time you read a book? When was the last time you read a newspaper? No, serious question. When was the last time you read a newspaper? Because yes, we absolutely do need to. We need to get our information. We need to sort it out because there's issues, and all we want to do is point fingers at each other because we have these issues. But even if we have these issues, we can't go into it angry. The news isn't good anymore. There's no fair and balance. Even in Canada, I don't care what you say, CBC is not fair and balanced. We got people, remember that individual that got fired from the CBC because of rape allegations? He got fired before he was tried. That kind of sounds like, it just kind of sounds like it's unfair. It kind of seems like he was judged. He was found guilty before being proved guilty. You know, CBC, my heart kind of frickin' breaks. I mean, it just sucks. It just sucks that there doesn't seem to be good media that you can trust to be good because they're good, because the product they give you is good. They want to get you pissed off these days. CNN, Fox, all of these places pretty much just exist to piss you off. Okay, so now the issue with Fox especially, and blaming everything on video games, once again, who says they're not trolling? I could see 4chan doing something like that. Trolling? Trolling hardcore. I could see 4chan doing that. Being Fox. Imagine 4chan got into Fox News and all these media places and just gave them ideas of things to say to piss people off so that they would watch you, so that they could watch your advertisements, so that you could pay your people and you could make more money. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of people within the news that are only there for the money. I've had discussions with people that have broken my heart when they try to bring me facts and information that comes from a blog, and it happens. Ladies and gentlemen, blogs are opinion. They're not facts. We got to get this stuff off facts. Science. If we can prove that. But that's another issue, is that we have so many people who are in positions of power, mental power, where they can say, yes, I have been paid by this company to represent them as a scientist to say this place that we are building, it is okay to build there because I as a scientist say that. And meanwhile, they're being paid by this company. So it doesn't matter what their credibility is versus the money. And I'm telling you, absolutely everybody has a price. You might not know it. Everybody's got a price. $1 Million Man. You know what I'm talking about? Anyways. Yeah, it sucks. These are the information wars. Now, this information that I brought you has been produced over the course of, 13 minutes now. It might not be the most beautiful thing, but get the information from this. Seriously, I've put down why the data wars are going to trigger human suffering, because the news doesn't want to be news, it wants to be porn. Now, because no one is even seeing that this is porn, or nobody cares that this is porn, that this isn't news that we're giving, it's opinion, it's anger, it's not facts, there's no science behind it, and sometimes when there is science behind it, it's junk science, and we have to be able to look through that. We're in a situation where we can't trust a lot of the higher ups, a lot of the I'm not saying that I don't think we can trust them. I'm saying that people in trailer parks and people living in their cars in Silicon Valley think this, that they can't trust the people who they're supposed to be able to trust anymore. Back in the day, you could just say, scientists say, and we would all be okay with that. And now we're like, all right, what fucking scientist said this? What scientist said this BS? And let's get into this. We're not even there. We're just like, well, I'm just going to blow away your science. I'm going to act like you never said anything. Because odds are you can't even get this information. But what's really interesting, and why the internet isn't evil, and why this is the fault of the place we've come from and not the place that we are now, is because back in the day, everyone used to get their information from Uncle Tom or Uncle Buck, or at least around here, you get your information from people that you knew. The information you have would either reside in books or within hard copy paper that would come to your door. There was no Wikipedia. This is the age that we're coming from. This is the people that we're catering to. I come from a time where I come from the bloody internet, and I know damn well you got to check your sources. No matter where you are, you got to check your sources, people. But it's like we got these old people who are too dumb to check their sources. And we got these young people who are too dumb to check their sources and are working so freaking hard that when they come back at the end of the day, they don't even want to check any of this stuff. But since they're tired, since they're in front of this news and media, they do get upset really easily, very easily, making you very easy to control. If you're really tired, you're easy to control. I come from farming, not myself, but I've seen it, and like with a horse. A lot of people break horses. And you can build them back up, just like they do in the military. What if they were doing that over the news? Okay, shape-shifting lizard people ideals? Yeah, they're trying to control us, okay? I think people on the left would see this and say they're trying to control us, and I think people on the right would see this and say they're just trying to sell some bloody advertisements. But I don't like it. We are living in a time where it is easier than ever to get to the truth. We're living in a time where it's easier than ever to check facts and get to things, and no one will on either side. Like, for example, this is a very controversial thing that nobody can get through with me. Nobody can finish it with me. But as a reasonable person who is totally okay with homosexuals and would take one in the mouth and see it up close if he needed to, as a parent, there's a story within Toronto that really upsets me that I can't talk to anybody about, or they will think that I'm on the right-hand side. Look it up, Toronto, public sex, and you will see the stories about a particular place that I heard about 20 freaking years ago that everybody knew you could go to have sex in the public. Now, and then some people are like, ha ha ha, that's so funny, ha ha ha, I would do that kind of thing. Okay, if you live in an area that for 30 years was known for public sex, and you're okay with this, and you're the type of person that would go in there, as a joke, because everyone's joking. You know what? I'm going to back this up a little bit. I've been to 4chan. I've been to 8chan. I've been to the same places on the left, too. And you want to know what I see? Half people think it's a joke, and half the people aren't joking at all. Not at all. And that's freaking crazy, because of the stuff they're talking about is terrifying. So, let's pull back. 50% of the people that think this is funny, that public sex is going on in daylight, broad daylight, in family parks. Okay, yeah, have your laugh. Okay, get out of here. Whatever, you don't have family, whatever. Okay, now to those who do have families, are reasonable people, trying to make it in a city that's freaking expensive as all, and you know that that's a place, like you can go there almost any time. And, okay, maybe not any time, but you tell your kids you can't go there because there's homosexuals having public sex. That's unconscionable. And as a group who is trying to come out of it, you shouldn't be doing that kind of thing. Nobody should be having public sex near a public park where children are. That's unconscionable. Nobody should be doing it. But it only got shut down recently, and it was operating for at least 20 years. Now, as a parent, that bothers me. As somebody who likes people within the alliance, that bothers me because it casts a horrible shadow on the entire corporation, on the entire establishment that's trying to rise out of nothing, that's trying to show people we can be reasonable, we're good people. They shouldn't even have to say that, but to see this going on for so long out in the open is a slant against all of them. But if I bring it up, people just think I'm on the right. That's the problem we got. We got to come to the table. We have to be reasonable. Sex in public parks on broad daylight, not reasonable, right? Some people think it's so outrageous they're not even going to check me on it. But seriously, it happened. I had known about it 20 years ago, and it only got shut down recently. Now, the police don't even want to say it has anything to do with homosexuals because they believe the homosexual community has an issue with them. And, it sounds like they did screw up like 20 years ago. But at the same time, guys, I got a bladder problem. Sometimes I gotta shit a lot. Don't be having sex don't be having sex in public bathrooms. I gotta take a shit. You know how hard it is to take a shit when you got a buddy moaning over there? It's like, shut up or do it at home. Really. I don't mind that he's doing it there. I just gotta take a crap. And, sometimes guys gotta take a crud, and it's bad enough that I gotta go into a public bathroom, right? Of course, that has never actually happened to me. I have been concerned that it might happen to me sometimes, Not because I'm worried about that, but because I have to have a relatively quiet time to have a shit, right? Okay, so not because I'm disgusted, but because I have issues and I need to take a shit, right? Okay, but really, you got problems with homosexuals, you got some real problems. Data wars, they're coming. People have chosen their side. They don't even realize it. And here's a great example: homosexuals against the Salvation Army. They're out there. They freaking hate the Salvation Army, or at least they have a lot of rhetoric against it. And if you know anything about the Salvation Army, you know, I'm not even going to get into that. But all I'm going to say is I had a transphobic versus xenophobic argument about it the other day, and the fact that individuals won't come to the table to talk in the center reasonably is why we're having all these shootings in the States. And this info wars that's really messing up the States could potentially hurt us somehow. But we definitely have information wars. Nobody's willing to look up their information, and it's scary. As a crazy artard in the basement, like, look at me. Like, if you could say that this was my mental state, like, you could tell that that isn't a great thing. So I shouldn't be the ones telling you guys about this. Check your frickin' facts. Don't be so one side or the other. Ever. And they're all our people. I don't care what side you're on. They're all our people. Okay? You gotta make this through to the end without human suffering. That's the thing. And if you don't think that, then I think you need to grow up a bit and read a little more. Maybe read some Nietzsche's, read some Gulag Archipelago. I mean, if you're willing, and seriously, if you're going to burn it down, then I'm going to make you be there. If you're in Canada and you burn it down, I'm going to be there to make sure that you are there personally to help us build it back up. Because while a lot of this shit that we have built up might have been built up by people you don't like, with things that you don't agree with, and they might not work 100%. It's a real fucking bloody crazy world out there, and there's some places that have less than what we have, and maybe we'll tear it down, but we're going to be cold and hungry until we get it built back up. And unless you have a plan, I don't think it's a really good idea to tear anything down. But we definitely need news reform, or else someone's going to burn this shit down. Seriously, we're losing our minds. Anyways, that's it for me. Nev from Nev's Tech Bits. Have a good one, folks, and seriously, take care of each other. Just take care of each other. How's that so hard? Anyways, have a good one, folks.